cushion.
Whoo-wee. I know I'm late. I'll be late sometimes. Maybe I'll be late too much on Wednesdays. Today I struggled to go live though. I know I was supposed to be at Cullen Middle School this morning. Cullen Middle School today has I think some testing, so they have a closed campus. So I had to reschedule to talk with the educators in Cullen Middle School in Houston, Texas. So I'm still at the house. As you can see, I'm in my office. I've been struggling though, man. Like, am I being real? I've been struggling on motivation, on being focused. I've been struggling on figuring out what's going on in this world and struggling on what's going on with me being positioned in this world. And I feel like I've just been bombarded with a whole bunch of just bad information. Uh, and I say negative information, negative news that's making it hard for me to be motivated and for me to process, to be more focused, to make better content and do things. And I just know, you know what I'm saying, I ain't the only one experiencing that. So I wanted to just put that out in the atmosphere so you know that you are not alone in struggling, and that a lot of us, you feel me, they can be real about it anyway. We trying to figure it out, and we struggling to figure it out. And every day, every hour, every minute of the hour, we getting hit with political, social, economic news that deals with domestic issues, international issues that impact our livelihood, make us feel a little stress, make us feel a little anxiety. And it's just like, you know, that's what's going on. And there'll be certain people that want to make you feel bad or make it feel like you don't have emotional intelligence because you can take temperature of what's going on with you and acknowledging that the world is on fire. And there's some people that want to move in what I would call cruel optimism. They want to be cruelly optimistic to the harsh reality that we in. And even though we have violence and threats, you know what I'm saying, out the wazoo, they still want to have this cruel optimism. And I don't think that's going to get us anywhere. I also don't think it's good for regulating our emotions. And I don't think it's good for us to be able to really take the temperature of what's going on around in the country and making sure that we stay intact in how we experiencing this, man. Like this week alone, me learning about the trigger warning, the Rape Academy University, that now Christian Divine on TikTok has found himself being, you know, canceled, backlashed again because they talked about it being, I think, 62 million men that was a part of this campus, I mean, a part of this website, but it was really hits, not people. And it's just like, I think that discursively is getting around with the pattern that I've been noticing right now, and how I'm just throwing out all this mind throw up right now is that it's been like 3-4 instances in the past week that is just men being violent to their partners and their partners ending in death. And I'm just seeing a lot of ways that power always wants to conceal itself by trying to discursively get around institutions that prop up these individuals and only talk about the individuals. It is usually through a lens of like mental health. And as somebody that also, you know, has my mental health diagnoses and ADHD and bipolar and shit, I get it. But I also know that there are women that's bipolar, ADHD. There are women that also experience, you know, a whole bunch of different mental health difficulties and challenges. And I don't see a pattern of them killing their partners. Today I ain't know what to talk about, so I was like, do I even want to go live? I got a lot of work I've been back behind on because I've been traveling a lot, but I've been traveling a lot because I've been broke, and I've been broke because of everything that's going on in this world. And I know I ain't the only one. I know I ain't the only one. I've been very disappointed too in how some of my fellow men have been talking about what happened with Justin Fairfax and Serena Fairfax, the former lieutenant governor of, I think, Virginia, I think is where what was that. And I just think about the say her name hashtag and about why it was created. It was created because we tend to not talk about how women are experiencing violence, and we don't center how women are experiencing violence or how they experience violence. And that's the reason why they created the say her name hashtag, because women tend to get erased or marginalized in a way that we talk about how their bodies magnetize, you feel me, conflict, death, violence. And right now, a lot of the media wants to center Justin Fairfax and talking about his mental health issues and not getting into the structural analysis of misogyny and gender violence. Because what we know is that there is a a high likeliness of women to not only experience violence, but experience violence on the hand of their partners. And I think that we're doing ourselves a disservice if we want to explain away this phenomenon of intimate partner violence as just being about mental health, especially if we're going to censor only the men's mental health and not think about the various ways that women also have their mental health impacted because they have to live under the constant threat of danger, the constant threat of violence and of fear. And that's just some shit that's on my mind right now. So I know that if I'm struggling to be 10 toes planted in the world we're living in right now, in the midst of everything that's going on, I can only imagine what that would look like for, women, especially Black women. Like, the more I learned about this Serena Fairfax, just the Fairfax story, Serena's like, she was about to leave you. You was spiraling. You've been drinking a lot. You killed your estranged wife in the house with the kids in there. Like, think about how selfish you gotta be. I couldn't even come up with nothing academic to say about that shit. It was just like, what the hell? No. Now two children now are now, orphans because their father could not deal with the losing of legitimacy and power, and they crashed out and killed their mama. Patriarchy, boy, is crazy, man. Patriarchy is crazy, and you gotta name it. Or this other father, this other Black father killed 2 women, 8 children. You know what I'm saying? 7 of the children being his own, one of them not being there. And it's just like when 19, 20-year-old white men get radicalized on the internet with white supremacy and anti-Blackness, and they go and create mass violence, and the media try to explain it away by talking about mental health, we know that this is a misnomer. We know that they are getting around the big elephant in the room, the structural issue that create the climate for this kid to go into a schoolhouse or to go into a movie theater or to go into a church or to go into a grocery store and do what they did. Like, we know, you see what I'm saying? So when we start to try to explain away what these particular Black men have done to Black women and Black children as being about mental health, I don't think we're being intellectually honest. And I don't think we're being intellectually honest because we know that when a lone white teenage 22, 23-year-old, they left the white supremacist manifesto and went and shot up a whole bunch of people at a church, we know you're talking about them having some mental health. It don't get to how there's a climate in this country that says that it is okay to kill and target Black people. Likewise, we got to get it. There's a climate in this country that says it is okay and rational to wage violence against women, even if that woman is your partner. And that's just what I've been sitting with. You know what I'm saying? Like, crazy. And then something else I seen was that Palantir, the tech company, let out a manifesto. I haven't read the manifesto yet, but I've seen 2 videos on it. They talked about how, Peter Thiel is the owner of Palantir. Palantir is the people that's been getting all of the government contracts and making sure that artificial intelligence, these language models, can get your data and they can use it against you and surveillance you. You know what I'm saying? So Palantir got a whole bunch of different government contracts from the UK to America to shit, you name the country. These folks then let out a manifesto, you know what I mean, or put out a mission statement about how they believe it's their right to be able to surveil people. How they believe is their right to be able to have military force to be able to carry away whatever they think the outcome should be. And it's just like, shit, man. Shout out to you, Jeremy. Shout out to you. Did you hear about the? Oh yeah, I definitely did. The Lipe. Shout out to you, Drea. Your words, your honest, your thoughts. Shout out to you, Giomi Lee. Shout out to you, Kim Folk. I am overwhelmed, overstimulated. I'm still battling burnout. I think a lot of us are battling burnout because we can't even sit with shit hit us in reality while we don't get a chance to even process it. Like, remember Alex Pretty? Remember Alex Pretty and Regina? What was the white woman name? That shit seemed like it was 2-3 years ago already. Like we haven't even had time to process what is going on before us because they keep on throwing shit at us. Renee Good, Alex Pretty. We ain't even had chance to, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about even I can't even think of bro name right here, showing my anti-blackness that I've internalized, man. What's this black man name that also got killed by ICE agents? It's like the ICE shit is still here. Palestinians still being blown up. Sudanese still being genocided for their gold. Haiti is still fighting for legitimacy. And niggas still can't get no education in here, and we still being criminalized and targeted. And we all just trying to make it to the summertime, man. We all trying to make it into the summertime, and it's just so much going on. I read something too that Hunter Biden challenged Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. to a UFC cage fight. Like what? Omar says, what do I think about TYT? In the most smoothest, respectful way, how I say it is, I got mixed political and personal feelings about TYT. I think that there'll become a time and place where I air those out. I don't wish to do it on this live stream right now, though. But, you know, I hope that answers your question. But yeah. But yeah. The Strait of Hormuz is still, you know, impacting our global economy. Shit, man, it's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on, and I know I would be a fool to center myself and make it like I'm the only one that's struggling to comprehend what's going on around me and struggling to just move forward, you know? Like, god damn, what's going on? Sometimes it's debilitate, like, man, what's the word? And I ain't gonna be on here too long at all. I know I told y'all I was gonna be at Cullen Middle School today. We have to reschedule for y'all that's getting on right now. I said the number is going up, people that's on the live stream. Shout out to everybody that's on Substack. I'm currently on StreamYard. I'll be doing me a nice exclusive Substack live where I do a Q&A. My opinion, Trump needs to be impeached right along with the Republicans that don't think or care about the people, citizens, or legal, that don't matter who y'all left. I'm being honest with you. You know me, I've been really sitting with not only the two-party system that we have, but just how far are we past the point of no return in this country? And it's just like, I do agree with you, and to be clear, I do agree with you. Trump and the Republicans need to be handled and dealt with. They are all accessories to crime, just like a whole bunch of my family members and homeboys that's locked up because they were seen as being accessories to crime. You feel me? They ain't stopped the commission of the crime. The judge still seen them just as being guilty. It's an accessory to it. So I think they are accessories as well. But I don't think that accountability and responsibility gonna find them. I wouldn't hold my breath for it at all. And I've been really just sitting with, and this is kind of one of my more radical, you know what I'm saying, thoughts, one of my more radical perspectives, is that I do think the Democrats are very responsible for the current state of fascism that we in. And I don't say that trying to be sensational. I don't say that trying to get no clicks or views. I genuinely believe the current state that we're in this country has been ushered in by and large by the respectability politics, the ideas of decorum and fairness that the Democrats have also played into. Like, I'm a content creator. I make videos. You feel me? That's how I'm able to feed the family. That's how I'm able to do some shit by making these videos. When I see politicians that have been voted and put in office and they doing the same tactics I'm doing by making videos and they have access to levies of power, that don't make me feel encouraged. And it also make me think about how they are also implicated in the very system, implicated in the very policies that's brought us to this fascism that we're sitting in. And then I start thinking like this when I start really getting into my actual lexicon and how I think about this country is really, we've been getting different flavors of fascism for a very long time. And the powers to be, they made it real easy for us to find a digestible flavor of fascism. And Donald Trump was not that. And a lot of us, well, I ain't say a lot of us because I've been knowing this shit's fascism. A lot of people have been struggling with Is this the America that has been here, or is this America that Trump brought in? And the reason why I'm having a hard time struggling and seeing this here is that, hey, man, I have companies sometimes that say, hey, conscious man, can you make this thing about defending democracy? And they'll be like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? I think that y'all gonna hold me to democratic standards. So I think the people that's in power of the democracy should also be held to them same standards. But I also think too as well, like shit, I'm past the romanticization of democracy. For y'all that's been here these last 2-3 months, I brought this up a few times, but like I'm past the romanticized ideas of democracy. I'm past all of the romanticized concept of democracy. The world we living in right now is a direct byproduct of the material reality of democracy. Yeah, ideally, if it worked the way it's supposed, like I think that a lot of us have to really like unlearn and relearn the way this world has taught us that fairness and order happens, because it's obviously it's not bringing us fairness and order, and one could argue it never has. It just allowed for some of us to be comfortable within disorder, and a lot of us now are realizing that disorder, regardless of comfort, is still disorder. And I think that that's just something that we got to sit in and sit with. You know, we got to sit with and sit in. That a lot of us is just grasping for straws, and we don't know what the hell going on. But I know a control opposition when I see one, and shit, like it's not just Cory Booker, it's not just, you know what I'm saying, Chuck Schumer, it's not just Nancy Pelosi. You know what I mean? It's like it's really like a structural issue the Democratic Party has, but the Democratic Party is not outside of capitalism or imperialism, and they just the arm of that. And just right now in 2026, as we go into the midterm election, and people are celebrating what happened in Virginia because Donald Trump lost, and Democrat, it's like, are these Democrats gonna try to get us back to the status quo, or will they realize that past status quo that everybody want to fight so hard for brought us to the very time and very space that we're in right now? And it's one of the reasons why it's just like, hey man, and you see Fannie Lou right there, Fannie Lou Hammer right there. Just hey, she said like sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I think that a lot of us Americans, especially us black folks specifically, goddamn, I know a lot of us are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And a lot of America right now is coming to grips with the way that y'all view America, and Trump's presidency is a lot of ways that black folks and indigenous folks have been experiencing this country for a long time, man. Long time. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Serena, what I suggest that we replace it with is a system that we all can put our heads together and create. I think also within the conversation about how fucked up democracy and capitalism is, a lot of times we limit ourselves and our imagination to what history has presented to us, meaning that we can't imagine anything outside of what the white Europeans has given us so far as democracy and capitalism. And because so many of us have been indoctrinated that the best form of governmentality, the best concepts of fairness comes from what these Europeans have created, I think that it almost justifies consciously and subconsciously how they are able to claim dominion of the world. Because if we created the most fair way of government, then this justifies us being able to force this on people, even if we do it in an unfair way. And I think that when it comes to us talking about innovation, talking about creativity, talking about the way that we are always able to advance certain shit, it's time for us to advance ourselves from an ideological level from democracy and capitalism, because it may have brought us as far as it's going to bring us. You see what I'm saying? Not only has it brought us as far as it's going to bring us, a lot of us are still struggling with the way that you've been taught to view democracy. It's not the reality that democracy has been in its totality. From the beginning, democracy was always defined in a particular way, to be about land owning men, to subjugate women and slaves. From the very jump, if you go to the beginning, if you study the genealogy of democracy, cannot be stripped away from who marginalized to this day: foreigners, slaves, women. That's baked in. That's a core feature of democracy. A lot of y'all want to sanitize how this is a baked in core feature of the history of democracy. So when I'm asked the question, what do you suggest? I'm able to say, I think that we should do something that we've not done before, or what has not been documented. You see what I'm saying? And what has not been documented is for us to have particular voices contribute to what government looks like. And I think that's just, you know what I'm saying? And because so many people don't have the courage to have a radical imagination, we stuck with the same very systems and institutions that's been here for the past couple of 100 years, and we study still trying to fight past the same impacts, even though you know the same system brings the same impacts. And usually we say fighting over, doing the same thing over and over and over again is insanity, except for when it comes to fighting for democracy, and except for when it comes to fighting for capitalism. Because whether you want to acknowledge it or not, what happened in Venezuela with Maduro and him going in and doing that for the oil, that was democracy. And that's been democracy since the beginning of the time when the Greeks, created. It was always about expansion. It was always about expansion. It was always about imperialism. It was always about domination. Always. It's a whole bunch of quote unquote democratically elected leaders that still shit 6 feet up under the ground right now, or in some ocean, or in some ditch, because hey, the United States federal government believed that democratically elected official was not good for capitalism, and capitalism was able to be like, hey, fuck your democratically elected official, get them, cool. And that's just the reality that we in right now. The reality in right now that we have is that the founding fathers of democracy, everything you've been taught about the Western ideology, everything you've been taught about freedom and stability and humanity and human rights, all that shit being called into question, because the very people that told you that shit is the same, is the exact people that are the biggest abusers of human rights. And it's just, that's what we're grappling with. That's what we're grappling with. And I think it's the reason why a little bit overwhelmed, man. Say, okay, Kiki Catcher. It makes the cynic in me believe that they will stop fighting once they're personally comfortable, even if they're struggling. Yeah, I don't know, man. I want to ask, if women cannot lead presidential elections, but men don't want women to lead, what is the issue of women being president? The issue of women being president is the patriarchal paradox. The paradox of patriarchy says that men, we can act out of emotion, anger, or resentment, or revenge, and that women are not able to lead because they're too emotional. To me, that's a paradox. But to me, I think that, the way that misogyny and sexism and the way that we devalue femininity and womanism is always, all those things contribute to people always concluding and saying that we don't have women president. And I think this right here is one of the contradictions of democracy. There are other countries that are not seen as being leader of democracy that have already had not one woman leader, but multiple women leaders. But in America, we have this idea that in order for capitalism and democracy to function the way it needs to, we have to have a man in leadership. This proving my point that I said a few minutes ago about how democracy and capitalism, a baked-in feature, is male domination, white male domination to be specific. And it's the reason why so many people want to mystify capitalism as being neutral and objective and being about merits and being about, it's like, nah, man. The industrialization of Europe is what brought us this creation. And unless you want to acknowledge that or whatever, you feel me? It makes it hard for you to really deal with the reality that we're living in, because you want to believe that capitalism was this natural thing that was created by Jesus and created by God, and that humans would have naturally went to capitalism. And we always say it's like, nah, that ain't how it is, man. Can we agree that Kamala and Hillary were not good representation of women politicians? Let's be real. As a cisgender straight man, straight black man, I would agree with that statement. But I know that, I don't have much jurisdiction, you feel me, compared to other people to make that claim. But hey, an establishing Democrat is an establishing Democrat. Whether they woman, black, gay, trans, straight, you feel me? I think that we got to sit with how identity politics, not just in terms of race, but also in terms of class, also in terms of gender, has been co-opted by the system. Identity politics used to be weaponized against the system because it wanted to keep it a monolithic of whiteness. But then the system got smart and recognized that I can incorporate all the representation these folks say I need while keeping the ideology and the mission intact. And it's the reason why so many people had issues with these two individuals as presidents specifically. It's because you can dress it up how you want to dress it up. But just like we always able to say that all skin folk ain't kinfolk, we also always be able to be critical and say that, hey, What does it mean to have a woman in office if that woman conducts herself the same exact way as men? I follow the same type of response to me. It's like, listen, what does it mean to have a black person in office or a black person in leadership if they're going to conduct themselves very similar to that white person? And it's just some people don't like dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? Some people want to pull the Cory Booker. And it's just like, hey, what you got to grapple with is that if you claim that you want to defend and fight for democracy the way you do it, you can't have no temper tantrum when you see people, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote, taking up their tools of democracy. And that's one of my beefs with democracy as well, man. You know, as somebody that I got my degree, I got my undergraduate degree in 2014. I graduated with my master's in 2017. At that time, identity politics was seen as a hot topic, especially because it was always in opposition to conservatism and to the system. One thing I know about, about systems and especially about white supremacy, it's always about how it can commodify and how it can integrate even resistance to itself by making sure it assures itself. Meaning, you can say fuck the system, and that fuck the system concept moniker is co-opted by the system, and it becomes a way to still justify it. Because hey, listen, democracy, let's just say fuck democracy. That's the reason why democracy is good. There was a time that said that when you talk about race or class or gender or ability, it's always already bad. But the military and conservatism has figured out a way to co-opt that. That's the reason why to this day you have a bunch of tap dancing black liberals and tap dancing black conservatives that will do the bidding of the two-party system as far as they are being represented or as far as they are being accounted for. Even if it never, you know what I'm saying, it's able to go to the collective. And that's just what we're sitting with. That's what we're sitting with. That's what we're sitting with right there. Say representation politics, imperialism, identity politics. Oh yeah, definitely. And being real too, white masculinity is identity politics. White supremacy is also identity politics. Neutrality and objectivity is really the beef. Kim Parker, a cis woman, it is a clinical term that means that you identify with the birth that you are. You identify with the gender you were assigned at birth. That's all cis mean. You feel me? Cis man, cis woman just means that you identify with the gender you were assigned at birth. Acknowledging there are people that don't identify with the gender that were assigned at birth, and it should not. In this deep conversation about power, about capitalism, about democracy, you should not let the cis women, that term, be the thing that you flinch at. That, you know what I'm saying, that don't like. I'm talking about this is a big conversation right now, and it's very telling. If that's gonna be the thing that you're gonna do, it's like, nah, what we talking about? What up, TS? Let's see. I'm in Houston now. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Oh shit, it's a show tonight. It's a show tonight. I'm sorry, y'all. Say this is an open air prison planet. Definitely. It's an open air prison planet. And I'm gonna leave it right there, man. I'm gonna leave it right there. Got some content coming. I've been bullshitting on uploading this video. Uploading the song I've been telling y'all about. Yeah, man. I'm about to get up out of y'all way, man. Handle some business. So I answer this last question. Are Republicans trying to hold on to an ideology more than supporting Trump as an individual? That's it again. Are Republicans trying to what's up, Damo? Are Republicans trying to uphold an ideology more than supporting Donald Trump? I don't think that it's a either or. I think most Republicans fell in line and seeing Donald Trump as a continuation of ideology, and that's just the reason why so many of them are following in line. And it's just, So shout out to you, Miss Jordan Bay. You feel me? He was just a figurehead. They were already turning, and that's the thing right there is that say now it ain't about ideology. It's about white culture. But is culture ideology? Would you say those two? You know what I mean? I think that even if Donald Trump was to go to glory tomorrow and kick the bucket, there was a coalition, there was a system in the climate that made it conducive for him to be present, and it made it conducive for him to be in that position. And I think that those people will still be there even if Donald Trump was to, go to glory tomorrow. You know what I mean? I think that's something we got to sit with and grapple with. It's not just an individual, it was an institution and system that made, I see what I'm saying actually. It was a culture. Because sometimes culture can be made of many ideologies. It was a culture that really allowed for this man to do what he is doing. And that culture would still be intact even if Donald Trump died tomorrow. And that's something that we got to really, really sit with and grapple with. It's the reason why I've been struggling. I've been struggling because I think about all these big picture things, and it's thinking about what can I do as an individual, but also just really processing all these big things. Like, this is the last thing I grapple with. That to me that just fucked me up. ICE and the Trump administration is continuing to say they are justified in causing chaos in communities because they're upholding the law and getting these illegals out of the country. At the same time, this man has committed over 30 felonies and is surrounded by a cabinet of pedophiles that are literally breaking the law and doing a bunch of illegal shit. It blows my mind that the party of the party of law and order has elected a motherfucker that has broken the law so many times that his aura gives disorder, is now manufactured consent of the country to say that we are going after the illegals in the name of upholding the law. At the same time, we can't get no investigation or conviction from the Epstein files. At the same time, it's a lot of people that still can't stand consciously because how dare you talk about that gay shit? How dare you support drag queens and trans people? Because what about the children? What about the children? What about the children? But you still want to step in the name of love? And you ain't got as much outrage as you had when Lil Nas X was going down that pole. What about the kids? It's just you started to see a whole bunch of different crazy, man. Crazy, man. Shout out to you, Jillian. Shout out to you, Jillian. I'll holler at y'all.